So the ski season is nearly upon us, and it's time to wax our skis and get them ready for the new season, which is always part of the ritual at this time of year, which will be fun. It's relatively easy this year. The skis are in pretty good condition. It's just a case of removing the old wax and putting new wax back on. I suppose one of the key things is you always need to put bands around the stops just to make sure it's a little bit easier to access, and you need a good set of clamps to hold the skis in position while we're messing around with them so they don't slip off. You need a good stable platform for this. The first key is get the old wax off, so we're just using a wire brush for this. It's a case of give them a good clean, get rid of all last year's wax. You want to do this following the grain of the skis. If you look closely, there's a grain that runs in parallel with the length of the skis. So we just need to get all this wax off, give the edges a good scrub, make sure they're clean and tidy. If your skis are particularly dirty or you've got a really thick layer of wax, you can use paraffin and melt that on. That'll help this whole cleaning process. But again, these skis don't really require that. You can see already that they're relatively clean. There's not a lot of wax coming off these. So we'll just take a few strokes to get these cleaned up. A little bit here at the end, probably where I left it a bit thicker last year. Give them a quick quiet clean, get any of that loose surface wax that's been polished off or rubbed off of. There's a little bit still there at the end, so we'll just get that off. Make them nice and smooth. Now it's time to prep them. We're not overly energetic skiers, so I'm just going to use some universal wax. This works in most temperatures from -8 all the way through to 15 degrees, so not bad at all. It's a case of plug the iron in and we want to get a nice steady surface coat over the skis. Normally tells you on the wax what temperature to set your iron at, but I think this is just more than 100 degrees, so it's not too hot at all. So we'll make sure that the iron's set to the right temperature, which is set to slightly over 100. It's basically, there's a little line that tells you where to set the thing in. It takes a few minutes to warm up. There are also, if you're a bit more keen, there's varying levels of wax for different temperatures. This runs from all the way from -6 to -25. But again, we're going somewhere relatively mild, so it's not going to be too bad. Let's see if the wax is ready to melt. Yeah. So all we're going to do is get a nice even coat over the skis. It's important that you don't make the mistake I did the first time I did this and do it over carpet. If you do it over carpet, you're going to have wax in your carpet forever. As you can see, it's run off the end of the skis already onto the table. And now it's a case of, like I say, we just need to spread that wax out. Make sure we've got a nice even coat all over the ski. Hardest thing is the ends. Trying to get an even coat here is a challenge, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect because most of this wax is going to come off. The important thing is there's just coverage at this point. So it goes on relatively easy. too neat about any of this. It's just about getting the wax in the grain. You can get this done at a ski shop. It normally is about 15 to 20 euros, I think. Occasionally you need to get your skis properly serviced where they'll sharpen the edges, but having only done a couple of weeks on these skis, they're still relatively fresh. The edges are sharp, you can feel it with your fingers. There'll be no concerns this winter. Get this last little bit here. Now you have to leave your ski to cool for a good 10 minutes. When you're doing this, it puts quite a lot of heat into the ski and you need that wax to be absolutely solid before we start stage 2. The advantage of that waiting time is we can prep the other ski with its wax while we wait. We can turn that off now for a few minutes. I'll take that off the stand, put that there. I'll get the next ski. Again, we just follow the same process. We remove the old wax, try and clamp it into position so it's nice and steady for us. There you go. And again, same principle. Center the ski, let's get that old wax off. Oh, forgot my rubber bands. See, that's exactly why I use the rubber bands to start with. And as you can see, we're whacking my hand against this, and it's a good indication that I'm not following my own advice. So, it's a case of just rubber band round, hold the stopper in place. Again, I tend to do 2 just in case one flies off. It makes it a little bit safer. There's not too much tension on them. And we can continue to get this waxed off. See, there's not a lot coming off this ski, it's relatively clean. Take the opportunity to give the edges a bit of a brush. There's a little bit of corrosion there from where they've been stored. Soon brushes off fine. No, that'll do. So we'll get that all brushed down. Again, just removing all that old surface wax. Not too much to do. You can feel the nice smooth board underneath. And we'll put the iron back on. Luckily it doesn't take too long to heat up. And again, it's just a case of melt the wax, get a good even surface coverage. Okay. A little bit of runoff there, nothing too serious. And just let's get that spread out evenly into the ski. Ends being the hardest, but one of the most important. sure we get the wax into all the points for the protection. Make sure we get some smooth gliding over the snow. So I might need a little bit more wax here, probably a little bit too frugal in that original dose. Just a little bit more wax needed, you can just tell that there's just not quite enough on here. Keep that coverage as even as possible, it just makes the next stage a little bit easier. Another one done. Now, unfortunately I have the pleasure of doing this to two sets of skis. I do mine and I do Rachel's. So once we've done this one, if it ever melts a little bit more wax there, yep, we'll move on to mine. Generally, we always ramp the children's skis, they're growing so fast and we don't go often enough to justify any more whoops. Yep, top tip, should wear trainers, because otherwise you get hot wax on your toes like I just did. But again, like I say, we rent the children's skis. It's generally easier, the kids don't tend to go that fast, they don't go too crazy on the skis, so for what it is, for a couple of weeks a year we can just rent them. Whereas I suppose that's one of the things we did find is as we became better skiers, you generally spend more and more on your kit. Every winter you want to go for the premium skis. And then if you've got the space to store them, generally it's cheaper just to stick with it and bite the bullet and buy a set of skis. I don't know if I've got a second set of rubber bands. Might have to pinch one off this ski. Pull that up. Loop that round the binding. Try and get this inside the vise just so it's nice and stable. This ski, as you can see, is a little bit longer, a little bit wider. But exactly the same principle applies. And we get all that old wax off. Oops. Clean up your edges, get rid of the corrosion. There again, not overly worn. nothing really to be too concerned about with these skis. No chips, no nicks on the edges. Well, there's a slight nick there, but nothing that you're going to notice. Bit of corrosion here, so give that a bit of extra elbow grease. So one of the keys is when you put your skis away, make sure they're dry, make sure they're protected before you store them for what is essentially 6 months. That will do for this one. Again. Just need to wax this again now. So, not done a very good job of clamping this one down, but oh. I think that was more wax on the carpet, wax on my fingers. Luckily it's not overly hot at this point. And we'll start at the far end this time. Get that even coat. I think I probably could have done with an extra band around my stopper. It's a relatively messy process, this, unfortunately. There's not much you can do about it. Just go with it and worry about the mess later. Make sure you get your edges. Once the wax hardens in a few minutes, I'll show you there's a special tool we can do to scrape this wax off. It protects, well, it scrapes your edges as well at the same time. There's a little cutout in it, which is very handy. Yeah, we got the carpet. Oh, I'm going to get murdered. You forget about the extra length of this ski, that's the problem. I think those are 150s, 155s, because they're H's, mine are 165, 170s, something like that. So there's a fair bit of extra length in these ones. To be honest, there's not much in it. When I'm skiing, I can ski on either. So. Yeah. nice and flat. Yep, so there's one of my skis done. I'll get the last ski, there it is. And then same principle, let's not go as far this time. Well, pretty much as the minimum it can go is there because of the vice. Let's see if we go that side of it. I think we can get away with that. Cool. So, this one, to be fair, that's quite a big chunk. I think at the end of this season, these ones will probably get a professional service. Last time I used these, I was in the plan. And it was, yeah, I did quite a lot of ice and rocky terrain on them, so it's my fault. Right to the top of the glacier, which is good fun. Obviously your equipment takes a bit of a price to pay when you're doing the crazy stuff. Yeah, there's a bit of a chunk missing there. I'll clean that up. I'll fill that with wax shortly. When I'm clean, get the wax on. I need to get that clamped down. Just pinch a rubber band off that one. Ouch, it's hot. Don't know why it's doing that today. Extra wax there. As you can see, it's run off onto the tables, but I think we'll scrape that off in a minute. And then we'll do the same, we'll start down the far end again. Should also wear old clothes, not your new jumper. Yep, everyone, this is a new jumper. That's why I've been wearing it in pretty much every video I've done recently. Do quite like it, it's very warm. Yeah, I'm a bit too thick with the wax at this end. As you can see, it's really hardened already. So it's just taking a minute to warm back up and go into the ski. It's nearly there though. I am managing to get most of this on the floor at this point. It's probably an indication of a bit too much, but you know, I don't do this very regularly, so it's probably a little bit of an experience on my part, but I think a lot of people that, if you're trying to copy this video, are probably in the same boat. Going, oh god, how much wax has just gone all over my table? How much is on the floor? This is why everyone else does it in the garage and not in the house. But outside it's freezing, so we're doing it in the house. And there we are, all sorted. So, I shall let that iron cool down. And I'm hoping that that's taken about 10 minutes. Because it's time to move on to stage 2. So we'll get this one back. And stage 2 involves removing 90% of the wax we just put on. It's nice and stable. So for this you need a wax scraper for your ski. And again, it's a case of going with the grain of the ski, pulling off those lumps. I won't lie, this is a messy job. As you can see, there's bits of wax going everywhere already. It's going to take a few attempts at it. Clean up the wax around the end here. Get the wax off the bolts, the adjustments. A little bit narrow there. On this tool, there's this little cutout here, which is perfect for your edges. You can just run this down the length of your ski. And it cleans up your edges perfectly, gets all that wax that you don't want on your edges, nice sharp edges. These are the things that will help you. There's one side. Do the same on this side. This is the problem when using one rubber band. Wax-free edges there. So now we need to get all this excess wax off. There's quite a bit here, that's my bad. Not the thing to do this one, but you know, needs must. Try and get some of that wax off the end. Then, let's see. You want to keep it over your edges where you can. Draw down, get that excess wax off. Into the right sort of layer now. See, there's still a bit of wax there. One last little lump to resolve here. And once all this wax is off, as we're getting to that point now, getting back to a nice grain, we get the nylon brush, and again, give them a good brush. Want to go with the grain onto the skin. Don't want to take all the wax off, we just want to make sure the grain is exposed so you've got some lateral control. A quick brush. And one very gentle with the nylon brush, just to make sure you've got it all. You can see there's a bit of resistance there, so we're not doing it enough. Perfect. Give that a brush. I think actually there's a bit more work needed with the scraper here. You can just see the wax has dulled where I brushed it rather than gone into the grain. There we go. Give that a brush again. Gentle brush with the wire one, and with So brush that off and I'll give you a closer look at what the ski looks like now. There we go. So there we go, one ski, all prepped, all shiny, ready for the season. And as I'll leave you to it while I do the other 3 skis. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you again soon.